My name is Parker Coppins. I'm a YouTuber and an actor, I'm an entrepreneur, and I made a show on Disney XD. But most importantly, I'm a total goof. I love making people laugh, and with the access to technology, I'm able to grab the attention of a lot of very young people. And with that comes a lot of responsibility. My goal is to use those eyeballs to make an impact on those people. Use that impact at conferences or at schools, but most importantly, on that youngster who is having a rough time in life. Without further ado, here's one of my speeches at a homeschool group. I have three things. I want to talk about people. I want to talk about bummers. I want to talk about dreams. Our first part here is talking about paper. Things are not always what they look like on paper. For example, let me tell you a little bit about me if you guys have no idea who I am. You're like, why is this guy speaking to me? Who is this guy? So on our first one here is I grew up going to school in Harlingen, Texas before moving at 15 to pursue acting. And what it looks like on paper is I'm a failed actor. Okay, how about this one? Okay, I created a YouTube channel. That can't go wrong, right? Before making a Disney XD show? That sounds great. That looks like on paper I play video games all day. Goodness gracious, I can't cut a break. Okay, how about this one? I created merchandise for YouTube friends and made and sold my first company. Now how could that ever go wrong, right? On paper, I've never had a real job. Well, goodness gracious. Okay, last but not least, come on now. I moved home to Harlingen to build 2 companies and grow a local team. Now, how on earth could that go wrong? I live at home with my parents at 24 years old. So just to recap here, I am a high school dropout, failed actor who lives at home in his 20s and plays video games all day and has never had a real job. Now, if you were to take that guy, do you think that guy would talk to you guys on stage right now? Yes? No? Goobers? So you are not always what it looks like on paper, right? So let's take, for example, what can we learn from this? The opinions of others does not always define you. If you saw that right there, technically, that is an opinion of someone that does define who I am and what I do. But that's not who I am. And then 2, what we can learn from this is my intelligence is not dictated by grades. So I did not do very well in school. I got C's. I tried so hard. But on paper, I wasn't a very smart person. But I've created good things for myself. I've created success. I didn't fit inside the box. We don't fit in that box. We're weirdos, all right? We accept this. Who here is a weirdo? Oh, come on. Let's be honest here. And the third thing we can learn is that perspective is a choice. How you see things is a choice that you can make. I can see myself as a failed actor who lives with his parents in his 20s, or I can see myself as something better. Something I think is much more powerful and much more important. Okay, so number 2, bummer, dude. So I had a real bad bummer. So it rained. Were you guys here when it rained a lot and it flooded everywhere? Did you guys have floods in your house and stuff too? Me too. So I just rented out this building. It was beautiful. We had just painted the floors and we're getting everything ready. And then a flood happened and we had 8 inches of water inside of our office. So we lost everything. We lost over $20,000 worth of damages. That's a bummer, dude. Can you guys say bummer, dude? Bummer, dude. The office was disgusting. Do you see that? That's the floors in my hands. That's what the floors used to be. But then my perspective is that I also created a slip and slide. Because it was already wet in there, so might as well put some soap on the floor and make a slip and slide, right? Right? You can take a bummer dude and that ended up being real fun. Another perspective on that is I found a game designer. So I had no idea how to make a game. I've always wanted to, since I was a little kid, make a card game. Do you guys like card games? Yeah, I always wanted to make one. I thought it'd be so cool, but I didn't even know where to start. From this flood, I met this 18-year-old dude. He's in the back there. You see that guy with the broom? Yes. His name is Jordan. He was there to scrub floors. He's there to help us. I'm paying him $8 an hour. He wasn't doing anything. And I was like, yeah, come over and help us scrub. He's scrubbing floors, and we're talking about the game, and all of a sudden he's chiming in with these ideas. And I was like, well, that's a pretty good idea. So I write it down, and after his third idea, I hand him a notebook and a pen, and I said, start writing these ideas down. So I had no idea where to start, and he had no idea that day he'd be scrubbing floors in an office and then have his dream job. And I had no idea that my floor scrubber would become our main game designer, and he would create a card game with us. And that created, 6 months later, our game called Levendale. So we took a real bad bummer dude. Can you guys say bummer dude? Took a real bad bummer dude and made it into something awesome. Bad things are not what they look like on paper. There's always positives that come out of bad situations. We have to look at it in a certain way. You have to look for the positives. Your choice in perspective matters. The way you look at things matters. All right, part 3. Dreams can come true. If you believe, anything is possible. I always wanted to be a YouTuber. That was like my favorite thing. I wanted to make YouTube videos, I wanted to play games, and I became a YouTuber. But because I edited videos every single night, that's how I became a YouTuber, is every night after school, I would spend 4 hours editing my YouTube videos. Now that guy doesn't look like he's living his dream, right? Looks like he's working pretty hard. Because that's what you have to do to create the dreams. You can't just sit there and be like, I'm gonna play Call of Duty all day and hope I become a YouTuber. You kind of have to work for it. All right, next up, I created my own card game. There's me with my friend playing our beta version. That's me yesterday wearing a suit of armor to promote the game. Now that sounds like a really cool thing, right? Walking around wearing a suit of armor, playing games. But that's because every single night I worked day and night for 6 months on this thing. So with hard work, with practicing, with putting effort into something, within the evenings, in the daytime, everything you have, every energy you have, pouring it into the thing that you love, you can create more than you would expect. And the third, I beat a world record. Now, I don't know why, but I decided it'd be a great idea to beat the world record, the Guinness World Book of Records, for the longest Minecraft live stream. Does anybody know how long that is? The previous record was 36 hours straight. I streamed for 48 hours straight. Now, by the end of that, I was seeing things. I was going a little crazy. Your brain shouldn't do that. Don't do that. It's a bad idea. But because I never gave up. The day before I did that 48-hour stream, I was riding the scooter and I fell. I fell on my face. If you see over there, in my ear is my headphone that broke off into my ear. This is me streaming with a giant scar on my face, but I never gave up. I did it anyway. I went from falling on my face to streaming for 48 hours because that's what it takes to create dreams. Dreams do come true, but you gotta put some heart into it. What can we learn from this? Well, number one, dreams are not always what they look like on paper. You see people, you see things, you see dreams, and you're like, well, that sounds exciting, that sounds fun. But if you put your heart into it, and you put work into it, you can achieve it. What we can learn from this is dreams do take hard work. Goodness gracious, but it's worth it. And number three, anything can be achieved. But to do that, it took a lot of hard work. Life is not always what it seems on paper. All right, thank you guys.
Well, that's been my speech, and thanks for watching this far, by the way. If you want to know anything more about me or have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out to me by hitting that book now button. Have a wonderful rest of your day.